Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Alright, so today we're back on the gate build once again. I know, part like 600 or something. We got our frame tacked down, clamped down. Kind of just in 4 places. Couldn't really get a clamp on it down there. None of the clamps I had would have clamped it down there, but just clamped them off from this end. And then I put the little straight piece in that we cut for the other one. I actually cut it to fit this one, but used it for all 4, well, will be for all 4 of my frames. That little straight piece so I can tack it off square, and then because we got so much deformation in this arched piece that I gotta kind of do a little hammer work and whatnot down here, so when I fit it, and being this got a little twist in it too, I need it standing up. So what I'll do is after I get this cut, I got my line scribed on here again like last time. Got a little pipe stand in there to help me hold it up, and I got it scribed in there where I can fit it back in, where I can cut it. And so what I'm going to do is after I get it cut, I'm going to take the frame and I'll move it over here to my thing and do like I did on the other frames, and I'll stand it up right here where I can, set the arch up there and look across. So that's where I'm headed with all that. Just telling you what I'm thinking. Alright, so now we got our other 2, the 2 we're working on over here on the table, 95 3/4 inch long ones. I got those done. They're all ground up, ready to roll. And I got another one of my other frames laid out here because I'm getting ready to start figuring out how long my pickets are going to be. So first thing I got to do to figure out how long my pickets are going to be, I got to figure out where they're going to land in my arch. In order to figure out where they're going to land in my arch, I need to know what my picket spacing is going to be, so I can do a picket layout across there and then use a straight edge or something to probably just use my tape measure and an eyeball. No closer than I got to get right now. I'll just leave me an extra inch or something on there, and then I'll cut all those off, and then I'll come back and lay my pickets in, and then I'll scribe them all along my arch, and then I'll just have to cut them with the grinder at that point, because I'm not going to set up the saw for a whole bunch of different angles. So I'll just take the grinder and just whack them off. No big deal. So the way I do picket layouts is, I guess I cheat. I use an app on my phone because I'm not like a mathematician or nothing. So the one I use now, I used to have one like called Construction Calculator, and it was pretty cool, but you did have to pay like one time for it. So now the one that I have is this, I don't know if you can see it or not, it's called let's see, Whitaker Dex is what they call it. And it's got a picket spacer function in here, and you just go in here and you pull it up, and it asks for your opening width, and generally if you want it to be code, that's always going to be 4 inches. So crap, that's feet. I want to put it in over, yeah, okay, so that's 4 inches. Picket width, my pickets are 1 inches thick. My max picket spacing is 4 inches. So what's that first one? Opening width. Oh, sorry, okay. So my opening is gonna be, for this first one, is 95. No, it's not. It is 91. That will be inside, so you go from the inside of your frame material that measurement they want is from this inside of your frame to the inside of your frame, whatever that distance is for your picket layout. So for ours, that would be 91 3/4. Probably 5/8. I made them a little smaller. Alright, so 91 5/8. Now, it's a flat style rail, so it doesn't have to be on a rake. Set ahead. So I like to do mine on center. I just always do my marks on center, and then I just eyeball it when I'm tacking in my pickets. Alright. And calculate. And then what that's going to give you is a whole list of exactly where your pickets go on center. So your first one's at 4 3/8 inches, next one's at 9 1/4, next one's at 14 1/8, 19, 23 7/8, and so on. And it should give us a total of 18 pickets. So this is also really important when you're figuring out how much material you need before you do a job. When you're doing a quote or whatever, you're going to need to know how many pickets you need and at what length, so you know how much material you're going to have. So I used this app when I was calculating all that stuff up too. So I'm sure there's some kind of like math way to figure this out, so that you end up with a perfectly even spacing on all your pickets, but I don't know how to do it. I just use this calculator. So alright, so one more cool thing about the app, and then I won't say any more. But it's got a little feature on it where it will call out the measurements for you, which I think is just really cool.
Get ready. 3, 2, 1. Start layout. 4 3/8. 9 1/4. 14 1/8. 19. 23 7/8.
So you guys get the picture. It's pretty cool, I think.
28 3/4.
Alright, that's all I'm going to say about the app. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this piece of picket material that we've been using as our little stiff leg in between our two pieces as we get our arch on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that. I'm going to lay my picket layout along this, put little marks on it at all my little picket layout marks, and then I'm going to take it and just transfer it from there, and I'll take it over here and lay it down on my material and transfer those marks onto that material. That way I can go down at my bottom and lay it across there and mark them out, and I can also clamp it across the top square, and then I'll use a square to transfer my marks up onto my arch. So that's why I'm going to use this transfer piece. I'll probably go ahead and put both picket layouts, one for the smaller panel right here. I'll go ahead and put that on one side of the piece of tubing, and on the other side of the piece of tubing I will put this layout for the 96 one. Also, you want to somehow denote on one end which is your start end, because if you were to turn this piece of tubing around and lay that out going the opposite way across your piece of panel, there's a good chance it's going to have your pickets on a rake, because these layouts are not exactly the same. They end up looking, the same when it's done, but each picket might be a little bit different. They might get closer together in the middle and then spaced out further towards the end, so that all your spacing basically comes out the same. It's just a computer generates that for you. Alright, another tip. If you were doing this on flat rails, the only reason I'm kind of doing it this way is because it's got the arch. If it wasn't for the arch, I would have laid out my picket layout onto the bottom and the top pieces. If it was a flat rail or even an incline rail, I would have laid out my picket layout on the bottom and the top piece. If this was straight, I would have laid that out before I built it, and I'd already had my layout marks there. I'd already had my pickets already cut, and as soon as I got the frame built on my table, I'd go ahead and throw in all my pickets while I got it laying there. But being that we have the arches on these, this is why I'm doing these completely different. Just thought you guys might want to know that. Alright, so here I'm using my little layout thing. I've just gone in and made just a little mark, because I really want my mark to be on the not out here on the face of the tube, but I want it in here on the inside of the tube and where my picket's gonna go. So I just put a little mark here just to give me a reference for my square, and then I'll pop some square lines down here, and with both of them laying on top of each other like that, I can actually go ahead and mark out both panels at one time. Alright, so that's how I'm laying out the bottom. That comes in really handy, using this piece like this if you got a whole bunch of them to do that are the same. So that's how I'm going to do the bottom, then I'll show you how I'm going to do the top in a second. Okay, for this top part up here, I just clamped it down on both sides nice and square, and then I took my speed square and I just lined it up with my mark here, and then scribe my mark there. keep moving along to each one, just like that. And now that I've got that done, I can go all the way around and lay my square on it like this, and I can mark my picket, mark a line across the middle for each one of my pickets across both frames, and we'll have both frames marked out and ready. Alright, that's probably going to be about it for today. I'm going to get them all laid out, and I'm going to write down in my notebook how long I need to cut them, and then probably starting tomorrow we'll get started cutting the pickets out and try to get all those laid in tomorrow. Alright guys, I appreciate you watching. I hope you like, subscribe, and come back for more. Till next time, see ya.